Yo, 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 what's up? Welcome back. Fucking the fuck. Fucking
The fuck.
whatever the fuck this is.
Fucking.
Fucking
Fuck that.
fucking.
Bruh, do you even vape? Bro, my car looks like the inside of fucking Notre Dame Cathedral.
You already know what the fuck is going on.
So our society has gained a bit of a reputation where we cycle through awful phases and trends.
Ain't a million fucking followers on Instagram. Boom gang, a whole lot of motherfucking gang shit. You know what I'm saying? I hit a fucking million followers. They ain't doing it like me. Woo! 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 Woo!
And many of these phases and trends contradict the very definition of life itself. Like, sometimes it's hard for me to tell the difference between a human being and an actual fucking rock. Juuling and vaping is not an exception to this trend. Recently, everybody is talking about it. There's these annoying people that think juuling and vaping are creations of the devil himself and want to get it banned. And on the other side of the spectrum, you have these really fucking annoying people who think you're cool if you juul or vape, and they think juuling and vaping makes up for an actual personality. These people enjoy juuling and vaping more because of how they're looked at socially as opposed to the actual activity itself, and that's stupid as fuck to me. Today I'm going to be focusing on and breaking down more of the anti-juuling and vaping campaigns. Some of them are so goddamn bad. Like, I know I say that about everything, but I mean it now more than I've ever meant it. So based on comments from like every fucking website I use, you guys actually wanted me to upload, which is actually pretty surprising because I thought the CIA used my videos to torture prisoners.
What's 2 plus 2? Your mom.
But if you're interested, I'll touch more on what's been going on at the end of the video. But anyways, the reason I don't like a lot of these anti-vaping and juuling campaigns is because a lot of them are just propaganda for cigarette companies. The more people vape and juul, the less people are gonna smoke cigarettes. Which honestly is a good thing in my opinion, considering cigarettes are far worse for you than vaping and juuling is. Something I did want to point out though is that the president had a meeting about the dangers of vaping and juuling, and there were health officials at that meeting, but there were also tobacco executives at the meeting. Like, can these companies do anything more incriminating? But anyways, the same news company that posted the article I found about Trump's meeting also posted an anti-vaping and juuling video. The caption of this video is, quote-unquote, "I missed so many important milestones in my life, all because of vaping." I'd actually go as far to say that most likely the majority of people who vape don't miss out on life because they're vaping. If this is actually causing you to miss out on life, I don't think this is entirely an issue with the product. I think it's also an issue with you as a person. But anyways, let's check this video out.
I would grab my phone, my wallet, my car keys, my backpack, and my jewels.
Jesus, that was so dramatic. Was that supposed to prove something? You take normal, everyday items with you as well as a jewel when you leave your house. I don't know why the hell they included that.
If you weren't doing it, you were a freak.
Holy shit, that just took a turn. You're not juuling, you're a fucking freak. If that's your mindset, then honestly, you need to like get some help. Like, I have friends who think it's cool to vape, but they don't think I'm a freak because I don't vape. But who the fuck is like, you don't juul, you're a goddamn freak?
I seemed cooler, more mature because I did it.
I don't know about you, but like amongst the people I know, kids who juul and vape underage get poked fun at, and a lot of them just have an immature and impulsive personality because those are the kids who are prone to doing that stuff. But I don't think I've ever heard of somebody who sees somebody else as more mature because they juul and vape. If you think about it right, 2,000 people out of tens of millions of people getting sick is actually a really good number. The study also hasn't even been completely confirmed, so out of those 2,000 illnesses, it's possible that not all of them are related to vaping or juuling. Also keep in mind that smokers move to vaping and juuling to help them quit smoking, so their lungs are already fucked up. Why are we trying to ban vaping and juuling as a whole? Because teenagers are getting sick from it. A lot of these teenagers that are vaping and juuling aren't even doing it legally. So if these companies are making an effort to make sure that their products don't get into the hands of minors, if said products do get into the hands of minors, then at that point it's not the company's fault. That falls on the parents for not keeping a closer eye on their kids.
So I started vaping and juuling when I was 14. I was a freshman in high school. All my friends were doing it. It was on social media everywhere, basically.
Okay, if there's a 14-year-old kid that's doing this shit and talking about it on social media, then that's the parents' job or the school's job to get involved. Like, once again, it's not these companies' fault if you're not paying attention.
I was probably 13 or 14 years old, and I remember seeing this and being like, oh my god, why do you have that at school? As time went by, I became more normalized to it.
My friend, she was like sucking on what I thought was a USB, and she was like, oh, it's like flavored water vapor, it's like so good, you have to try this, you have to try this. And she pulls it out, and that was the first time I've ever seen a Juul before.
We knew it was like a form of smoking. More and more kids started doing it, and then it was just like widely accepted at that point.
Someone from my first period, and then someone in my second, third, every single period just started popping up with Juuls.
Nobody knew what it was. Not one person knew what it was.
If you allegedly don't know what it is, and you just put it in your body for the hell of it, then I'm sorry, but you're an idiot. Like, there are a lot of other issues in your life that you need to resolve before focusing on this. Because it seems a little problematic to just be putting random shit in your body and you don't know what it is.
Parenting alert this morning.
The FDA warning about
Vaping in the news. Teen vaping epidemic. Vaping throughout the night.
Everything quickly became not enough. I had to keep hitting it. Keep hitting it.
The video is so overly dramatic. It's edited like a Shane Dawson documentary.
Okay. Before we jump into the mind of Jake Paul, which is going to be a roller coaster and a plane crash.
Like, if you watched this out of context and had no idea what they were talking about, you would think they're all Class A drug users. Listen to how she's describing a Juul. A fucking Juul.
Everything quickly became not enough. I had to keep hitting it.
Are you serious?
I'd built so much resistance up to it. I was so addicted that I couldn't quit. You're an idiot!
There are people in this world who just talk for the sake of talking. You can't understand what they mean, and majority of the time they can't even understand what they mean. This girl is an example of one of those people. I built so much resistance up to it, I was so addicted that I couldn't quit. Those sentences are two complete opposites. Good on her from like moving away from Juuls, but did she move away from Juuls and start using cocaine as a substitute? I'm resisting the Juul really well. I'm still addicted, I can't quit.
Like, that makes no sense.
So I asked my other friend to buy me cigarettes.
And I got sucked into the same trap as the rest of my classmates. So about 2 months ago, I woke up feeling pain on the right side of my chest.
So I started having really bad heart palpitations, and I couldn't breathe.
We ended up going to an urgent care. I was admitted, and they told me that they thought I had a form of like a diffused lipoid pneumonia.
It felt like I was having a heart attack. A team of surgeons just rushed into the room. One grabs my arm, the other one puts an oxygen mask on my face. Immediately, I saw the lead surgeon above me just saying, your lung has collapsed and we have to rush you into surgery this moment. They had to put a tube in the right side of my chest in order to reinflate my lung, praying that everything was gonna be okay.
And the panic attacks got so severe to a point where I sat down and I wrote out all of my funeral plans to the casket color, to the songs and the pallbearers.
I'm sorry, what? So while you're having panic attacks and apparently this is so awful, you have the composure to start planning out your entire fucking funeral down to your casket color. Maybe I shouldn't be laughing, but part of me feels like this is over dramatic as shit.
I ended up being the first confirmed case of vaping-related illness in the state of Colorado. Within a week and a half, I was out of the ICU, but I was sent home with an oxygen tank.
I remember after I was out of that surgery, the doctor came in with some images of my lungs that had black dots on them. Vaping was the reason for what had happened throughout my experience.
Okay, so you heard what he just said right there. Vaping was the entire reason this happened. He states it very factually. But in a separate news report about this same kid, where the title is literally Teen Believes vaping caused his lung to collapse, it's stated more as an idea of his as opposed to an actual confirmed fact. I'm not saying it's false, I'm just saying there's a good chance it could be false. Also, a good point I wanted to bring up is because of their age at the time, they couldn't even go and buy their own pods. And this is where you get like cheap, shady black market shit, which is actually pretty common. So we can't even confirm if what these kids were vaping came from the actual companies. But I mean, who gives a shit? They're leading protests. But I wanted to get a second opinion on the quote-unquote vaping crisis and the video we just watched. So I brought in my friend Muggy, who's a little more educated on the subject than me.
Hey, it's me, Muggy, commentary channel number 342,000. As you probably already know, vaping in America has skyrocketed within the past few years, especially among teenagers who think sucking a USB drive makes them more attractive to women. Parents are worried because their kids are getting addicted, and big tobacco companies are worried because their sales are declining. Because of all this, the media has been freaking out over the 149 people who have been hospitalized because of vaping in the US. These recent headlines and news segments have been trying to portray it as the new killer and that it's incredibly dangerous. Even my dad was sending me links to articles and saying it's worse than smoking, son. 149 is a pretty small number to begin with in the grand scheme of things, but it's been proven that in many of these cases, the people were either buying knockoff, sketchy, like Chinese brand Juul pods, or THC pods so they could get high. In the other cases, for the most part, it's not actually known what type of pod or e-cig they were hitting, and a lot of them also had pre-existing lung issues. So I did a little calculation. Let's just pretend all 149 of these cases were completely legit with no underlying factors. And let's say 9 million Americans vape regularly. This statistic is only counting adults, so it's probably a few million more than this, but let's just say it's 9 million. Because I'm an idiot in math, I just put this into a percent calculator, so this would mean 0.001% of people who vape were hospitalized because of it. But this estimate is still super generous. It's probably way lower than this. It's not clear what the dude Aiden was reacting to was using, but if he was actually just hitting a normal Juul pod, then the issue should be taken seriously. But it seems like this topic in general is getting way too overblown. And don't get me wrong, vaping is bad and you should not do it. It messes with your blood vessels and affects brain development. But it's interesting to me that the media is going on a complete crusade about this when teen opioid and heroin use has skyrocketed as well, drugs that destroy your life. Maybe they're not freaking out about that as much because the pharmaceutical industry that was behind creating those drugs funds our government and the media. Anyway, back to Aiden, I guess.
So I'm not going to go completely in depth into the argument, but I'll link articles down below that you could read up on. Whether you look at people that are pro-vapes, or you look at people that are anti-vapes, you'll find some funny shit, but you'll get deducted IQ points in the process.
That was pretty weak sauce.
I know my upload schedule has been lacking. Okay, that's a bit of an understatement. I have a bunch of stuff that I'm doing in my personal life right now that I can't go too into detail about. And believe me when I say I really want to upload. Just due to the position I've been in, it's been pretty hard to remain consistent. But I can't explain to you how grateful I am that a lot of you guys stuck around. I started this channel for fun and I never expected it to grow to the size it did. But it means so much to know that there are people who actually care what I put out. I'm happy to say that in a few months I'm going to be put back in a position where I could get a good upload schedule going again. And also I'll elaborate more on the specifics of where I've been on my Twitter, so go check that out, links in the description. Make sure to subscribe to Muggy. He added to the video, but he also did a lot behind the scenes. He kept me in check and made sure I didn't procrastinate. I'm also going to be hopping into my Discord server more often, so if that interests you and you like complete fucking chaos, make sure to go join that. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, it really helps me out, and until next time, peace.